should get a single. Good piece of fielding to stop some runs.
Là sur le mouillé c'est toujours un petit peu particulier, mais c'est sûr c'est que la patience.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. That's right, free. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And it's free. Call right now for your free book. And as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched over 1,200 annuities and summarized the rates and benefits of annuities from financially strong insurers. Again, that's Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free, for calling Annuity General today. Supplies are limited. Call now.
Call 800-518-7899. That's 800-518-7899. Star Power, brought to you by Prem Jyotish. For happiness and prosperity, contact Prem Jyotish. Call 718-899-6161.
Short stuff. Great spot. Keep you in, Nas. How do Australia counter that? Go just a bit fuller?
While Stark could bring in the Yorker and get the stumps in play. They've already changed the field. They've put two men out now offside behind square because they know he wants to stay leg side and uppercut. So bowl straight, bring the stumps into play, but you won't have fielders covering that. You might go for 4 down the ground.
Field set for short bowling from the Australian skipper. It is short, and Root pulls strongly in front of square. Nicely controlled.
Yeah, the other thing with that as well, it's great analysis from Nas once again, and what he's done is he's opened his shoulders up a little bit as well. He's not as side on as he was earlier. You can see the seat's a little bit more open there, which gives him better access to hit the ball in different areas on the leg side. Now this is against Mitchell Stark. The ball is obviously angling across him, so by opening his shoulders up, he can then pretty much choose, depending on the line of the ball, where he can hit that. So how do Australia combat that? If they're going to go with a short ball, they've got to follow him more. They've actually got to hit him on the back of the left shoulder. Therefore, the straighter the line of the ball, the less areas of the ground that he can actually access.
We know what Joe Root's been doing. He's been watching Mark Wood bat. Just stand there like Babe Ruth.
But it makes great sense, right? And you talk about the baseballers, and baseballers know to a certain idea of where the ball is going to be delivered to them all the time. So they're setting up for that one ball. So with this field set for Root, he's got a very good idea of where the ball is going to be. So he's just standing there almost ready and waiting for that exact length of delivery.
It's funny, isn't it? Amazing, really. You look at the amount of runs Joe Root has scored in his Test career. The quality of player that is Marnus Labuschagne. They're always just tinkering, trying to improve, trying to adapt to the challenge that has been put in front of them.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing that's drastically changed in the game, the amount of analysis that players have at their disposal. They can look at everything. And look, batsmen can look at every ball that bowlers have bowled in their Test career for the last 10 years and watch it time and time again.
Root says push. He's found the gap beautifully and timed it well. The crowd have been treated, really have, after lunch.
And we'll say it time and time again, but if you're going to go with this short ball ploy, it's got to be short. It's got to be up shoulder height at least, and not shorter than that. That's way too short. Sorry, not short enough. Very simple little swivel of a pull shot there. In total control of that. Bat comes from high to low, rides it down into the ground, where if you get the ball above shoulder high, the batsman is more often going to be hitting the ball up, therefore catching the top part of the bat, and that's where the catch will come from.
And just explain the challenge that Pat Cummins now faces as captain and the man bowling. He's got an awful lot on his plate. The fielders running around left, right and centre. There's people shouting at each other.
And if you have just saw then, if you had a look sort of top left of screen though, you'll see that Steve Smith will be doing a fair bit of the work here as well. He'll be helping him out. Normally when Pat's bowling, and certainly in the middle of a biggish or a long spell, Steve Smith will pretty much take over the field placement side of things.
Well, slightly more orthodox now. Would you say Australia have looked a little rattled in the last hour and a bit? Drop catches, chances put down.
I'm not sure if rattled is... Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, this has been some really good positive cricket from England, no doubt about it. They've certainly put the pressure back on Australia. I mean, Cummins should have taken that catch, no doubt about it, at mid-wicket. There was one at mid-on as well that he obviously didn't see, went into the crowd. He moved the wrong way. That also could have been a wicket.
Lovely. That is Joe Root.
When you talk about rattled, there's rattled and confused. And even what I've seen in this over, to me, looks a little bit confused more than rattled. If you look at the field they've got set, fine leg, deep backward square, deep forward square leg, point is up. And then he bowls a wide, full one that gets crunched through the covers. So it just seems to me that they haven't got a really clear plan right now of how they're going to get him out, or how they're going to stem the flow of the score. And there's a good bouncer from Cummins. That is the right height. 168 for 2.
Sort of my point about how difficult it is for Cummins, the fast bowler and captain. That's exquisite though from Joe Root. Sort of ballet movements when he gets it right and he's in sync. So again, there's a lot of conversations happening between Australia's captain and his bowler, and fielders moving into different positions. England trail by 149. Run rate in the afternoon session, a tick over 7s. The other potential problem Australia are going to face in the next, well, it will probably imminently, is this ball. Talking to the bowlers around the Test match arena this year and even in County Group, they're tending to go a little softer from about now, from about 30 overs, in between 30 and 40. And it's not the hardest Old Trafford pitch we've ever seen, but it's certainly firm and abrasive. So these balls can go a little soft. Flown away. You said about a fly slip, Ricky Ponting. You were absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and I don't think that's rocket science either, Wardy. With the way that he's bowling, how quick he's bowling here, and the angle that he's creating, how hard Crawley goes at the ball, there was every chance that was going to happen. I haven't learnt now. I need to throw one back there, because he'll play the exact same shot next time, and he's not going to hit the middle every single time. And there he goes now. They should have been thinking about that an over ago. Cameron Green is the man that's come out of that sort of second or third slip. He's gone back 15 odd metres in from the rope.
Well, Crawley into the 90s, 93 not out. Crunches that one. Memories of Edgbaston, first ball of the series.
I almost said last over that there was a shot of the day from Joe Root. That's about the shot of the day there. That has absolutely sizzled across this Old Trafford outfield. Wasn't quite wide enough on this occasion. Bang, there's the full release of those hands. And the fielders stood absolutely no chance.
97 not out with his 12th four. He's hit a 6 and he's faced just 91 balls, and he really has got this Old Trafford crowd into this game. Well, Stokes and McCullum have backed him. Can he deliver with his 4th 100? Well, his style epitomises how they want to play. And I know your point, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, is as much as Stokes and McCullum have wanted to put this positive style of cricket in, it's probably been more impressive with the bowling in terms of being able to take 20 wickets in an innings, like that series in Pakistan. But in terms of Zach Crawley going out the door and setting the tone, like we saw at Edgbaston, and what we're seeing now, this is it.
Well, and what does it do? It buys them time in the game, which they know that they need, right? When you can score like this, they're scoring it over 5.5 runs and over for the innings after quite a circumspect sort of start. They put the foot down. I think you said it's over 7 runs and over they've scored in this session.
Wait.
Had a little grab of his right hamstring there, Mitchell Starc. There's a little hobble on the way back to the top of his mark. Let's keep a little close eye on him here. And if it was a grab or just a little bit of a rub on that top of that right hand, just goes again there.
Doesn't look completely comfortable, does he? He's about to finish his 10th over. The schedule has been brutal for all the players mentally, but for the bowlers physically. He's slammed his leg down again as he charges in from the James Anderson end. Reaches pulling away again to Steve Smith. No run. 177 for 2. See what Starc does here. England trail by 140, 177 for 2. Mitch Marsh is loosening up. Mitchell Starc has stayed on the field, doesn't look particularly comfortable, but Zach Crawley is 98 not out. Field is set for short bowling again, and Pat Cummins is round the wicket. Carved away on the offside. Crawley will sprint back for 2 surely. His 4th Test match 100. He has lit up Emirates Old Trafford, and the crowd are right into it.
What a knock, what an Ashes 100. Second fastest on this ground. 4th Test match 100, 38 matches, and aren't they all happy? His teammates loving it up in the viewing room. I think he's having a little bit of a laugh and a joke with his partner there about how bad a shot that potentially was to bring up a Test match 100. Second 50 coming up off 26 deliveries, if you don't mind.
We don't mind at all, Rick.
We talked about that confusion, or were they rattled last over? Now, what this sort of style of play does as well, it does create that. As we just look at this magic moment for Zach Crawley once again, right off the toe of the bat. Just lobbed it over Josh Hazlewood at cover. But once he's tapped in there and knows that he's brought up 100, look at them, out they come. And as they should.
Nicely controlled.
And I'm talking about this style of play, and does it rattle you or does it confuse you? Well, right now, the confusion in Pat Cummins' mind is Are we going to try and get wickets now, or are we just going to try and stem the flow of runs? That's where the confusion comes. We've seen in other test matches earlier in this series where the short ball theory has actually done both. It's created chances and it's actually slowed the scoreboard down. Not today, and the reason it hasn't today is I don't think they've bowled it short enough. They haven't got that short ball high enough. And when you're operating between sort of chest and waist height to quality batsmen like these two are, makes it pretty easy to hit that pull shot.
Well, there's a higher one, and Root has absolutely taken that to task. They cannot stem the flow of runs, Australia. Cummins is under immense pressure as captain and as a bowler.
With a 50 partnership coming up off 33 deliveries. And we talk about Zach Crawley and his scoring rate. Let's have a look at Joe Root here for a second. He's 22 off 16 with 5 fours, striking at 137. And most of those boundaries have come from this short ball tactic the Australians just haven't got right.
Pulls again, but doesn't time it. Steve Smith is deep enough for them to trot through for a single. Change of pace would be nice for you. Bit of off spin somewhere.
They won't be doing that now. No, they absolutely won't go there. I think England showed their hand on the way that they were going to play, Travis said, when they gave him a couple of overs earlier in the day. Crawley reverse sweep first ball, slog sweep second ball, and that's great tactics by England. You put the pressure back on the part-timer, it makes the bowling captain go back to his front liners.
185 for 2. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's chucking the World Test Championship. How many times can Pat Cummins go to the World? Yeah, there's a break between Headingley and here at Old Trafford, but gracious me, the workload is horrendous. 55 from the partnership between Crawley and Root from just 36. England supporters at Old Trafford today have been treated in this session after lunch. England trail now by just 132. Stark is okay to go again. Field is spread very dominantly leg side. There's no one in front of square on the offside.
He sort of teased him there a little bit, hasn't he, Joe Root? He's hit some beautiful pull shots before, beating the men in the deep, but by the same token, he's hit but 5 or 6 now that have hit right up on the splice with the glove. They've just sort of teased Steve Smith at that sort of deep leg gully sort of position.
So now we've got 7 on the offside, 2 on the leg side for Zach Crawley. Your fly slip, which is Cameron Green, is in place. Up and away, and it's evaded Green down to that fly slip region. Another boundary.
You look back through this innings, you have to praise him for the way that he's continued to stick to his guns, play his natural game. He's played and missed it a few out there, but that shot has also been very productive for him. It's pretty easy sometimes when you play and miss it a few wide outside the off stump that you just put that shot away altogether, but he knows it's one of his strengths. He knows he can score heavily there, and he's going to keep backing himself to do that.
Well, I wonder if they're going to go for another fly slip. I think that is what they are going to do. Mitch Marsh is going to drop down towards third man. So you got Travis Head at deep backward point. Cameron Green has moved further towards the fence at fly slip. March is about, what, 15 metres inside the rope on a gully-ish line. Oh, that's a good shot and well fielded. Mitchell Starc is a tall man and he's following through quickly. He's got down exceptionally well.
I think he's enjoying himself here, Zak Crawley. That is hit right in the middle of the bat. Not his great strength either, hitting down the ground.
Maybe it's a length ball with a bit of width. Bring in the likes of Travis Head, Mitch Marsh and Cameron Green. Wow. How hard did he try and hit that?
I thought we just quickly crossed over to the British Open there for a second. Ollie's standing on the first tee.
Mulligan. Penny for your thoughts, Pat.
No.
Oh, it's in the air and it's exactly where Mitch Marsh was a couple of deliveries ago. 34 gone, 191 for 2. England trail by 126.
Well, what an afternoon this has been for England. 130 runs have come already, and we've still got 30 minutes of play left in the session. Zak Crawley has made a brilliant 100, the second fastest Test 100 on this ground. The quickest was that brilliant 100 from Ian Botham. So memorable that innings was in 1981. Crawley's the second fastest by 2 balls ahead of Victor Trumper, a very famous 100 way back in 1902. He's in good company. Second 50 has just come in 26 balls, and he has really gone after Australia this afternoon. Before the match, Ben Stokes said he wanted to pick players for what they could do on their very best days. And in his Test career so far, Crawley has shown flashes of brilliance, and on his best days his stroke play stands as a match with most. He hasn't been consistent, but his best days, boy, they are good.
Catch it.
Travis Head just bowled 2 overs earlier in the day, and he was expensive. And he starts with another boundary. Crawley, the moment Head came on earlier in the day, reverse swept Head's first ball for 4, slog swept his second for 6. And he's going to continue in the same vein now. Afternoon, Kumar.
Good afternoon, Athers. Absolutely spot on, isn't it? What a brilliant innings. 16 innings since his last 100. And he's done it at a very, very opportune moment for England. 2-1 down. Brendan McCullum, as you said, was talking about the ability and the capability of Zak Crawley, and we've seen that in this innings. used his stroke play to maximum effect, rattled the Australians, confused them, and now they've had to go back to their part-time spinner to try and show up their bowling resources, give the fast bowlers a rest. There hasn't been movement. It's been a short ball plan that has not been effective, and England right in the driving seat. Sometimes miss what Root has done as well, and how he's changed his game around the likes of Zak Crawley on this new approach. 25 off 19 balls. It's not the usual Joe Root, but he's done an absolutely stellar job as well, keeping pace with Zak Crawley.
I think you could argue to both players, Australia haven't bowled well right at the start of their innings. With the new ball, Australia far too straight and at the stumps to Crawley. They went with a short ball ploy to Root straight away that got his innings going, gave him early impetus. 198 for 2.
It's been a little bit confusing watching the Australians go about their plans. They started off the Test series with very set plans. That was their very own. The run rate at 7.21 for this session. If this continues, they'll have a healthy lead with batters to spare over Australia. But as the series progressed out there, you just seem to think that and feel that Australia seem to be trying to keep pace with England, reacting every single time to England and not being proactive in terms of setting the tone, dictating terms. When you're 2-0 up, 2-1 up, when you have opportunities, you press on the gas, you move ahead. Australia has been unable to do that, and England has stayed with them, dragging them back every single time, creating opportunities. This Test match has been no different. Bowling change, Stark replaced by Mitch Marsh.
Yeah, the first time today for Mitch Marsh. Remember, no specialist spinner for Australia. So those bowling resources being put under real pressure here.
That's the key word, pressure, isn't it? I mean, you'd expect England to be under severe pressure, severe stress. 2-0 down going into Headingley, 2-1 down coming here. Weather about perhaps over the next 2 days or 3 days. It seems to have liberated England, their mindset still the same as when they started the series. And Australia perhaps sensing that the Ashes is within their grasp. It's going slightly the opposite way. Another member of the think tank for Australia, Stephen Smith, he hasn't been able to make any impact either in terms of feedback to come in to change the tempo of this innings. But both these batters have created a wonderful tempo and a brilliant partnership.
That's where they've been poor to Crawley today, giving him so many opportunities to score off his pads. 200 up for England in very quick time, halfway through the 36th over. That's where they want to be. Just be patient there. Maybe 2 stumps wide of off stump. Crawley will come after you eventually. He won't settle for leaving the ball.
That's what's been a little bit surprising, is it, when you saw Stark bowling with the new ball, anything that went across Crawley, he swished at it and missed. A few streaky edges on the outside edge and the inside edge both. But they haven't had the patience. They seem to have had a blanket plan. We're going to go short. If we don't get a wicket with the new ball, we're going to go short at everyone that comes in after. And it hasn't worked. It would have been ideal if they dried up Crawley right from the start. A foot outside off stump. Set your field wide. Allow Crawley to come to you.
No! 200 for 2. Not to forget the job that Moeen Ali did today as well. 54, pushed up to number 3, partly to protect Harry Brook at number 5. So they've still got that very strong middle order to come of Brook, Stokes and Bairstow, all of whom can score quickly. There's no stopping the flow of runs. With this field set for a part-time offie, you're guaranteed to give away 4 runs in over just in singles. The England batter's not really satisfied with that. They'll be looking to sweep, slog sweep, reverse sweep. The field is up on the onside. They'll take that on as well. So the pressure's always on head.
Come on, lads! Come on, Eddie. Come on, boys. 2 more, lads. Come on. 2 for 2.
Brilliant batting from Root, who knows exactly where the field is. Got himself across and swept fine. I reckon Mitch Stark's in trouble down there. The last over that he bowled, he was struggling with something. There was just a hint of a leg injury in the last over that he bowled, and as he stopped this, the way that he got up, just again a sense that not all is well with him. And a big divot coming out of the ground as well. Maybe locked his knee there on the slide, and he felt it gingerly. Kind of shook it off, went back to his position. Was excellent batting because he got his front foot right across so he could manoeuvre that ball way behind square. He's a fantastic placer of the ball. Such skill. Rare dot ball to finish. 206 for 2. come in a blink of an eye, really. That partnership, just 60 balls for a partnership of 76. It's another tuck into the leg side. Mentioned in the last over how straight Australia have been to Crawley today, bowling almost to his strength. Just look at the number of runs there scored on the leg side. They bowled both sides of the wicket, and that has made it difficult for them to hold the rate against him, but also just not bowled in the dangerous areas enough.
Zak Crawley has options even with this field. He can go hard through the offside field. There's a short extra cover catching. A second cover on his left shoulder. If it's anywhere in his area and range, he's going to take it on. Straight down the ground is another. A hard cut past point, another. Two slips in place.
Wondered how long it would be before he plays that. He chooses his moments, and there was an opportunity there and he nailed it. 217 for 2.
Absolutely dismissive. What a statement to make. They're well ahead, but we are not resting. We're not relaxing. We are going to drive further and further away from the Australians. Great positioning, great contact, and just the control over everything here in Joe Root. Not many options really from here on, unless one of the England batters makes a mistake, for the Australia to try and bring the match back into some sort of balance. Mitch Marsh is not going to be the bowler to execute a bumper strategy. Cummins or long spells start the same. Hazelwood again not as effective.
because of the angle. Sorry, my bad. Come on, Trav. Come on, Trav.
Showed you Crawley's wagon wheel a moment ago just to confirm the number of runs scored on the leg side. What's that? 40, 52, 62, 66% on the leg side. That's a lot for a player whose strength is exactly there.
Nice, mate. Come on, boys.
Scale have just fed him today. Two for two.
Moving, mate.
Second slip comes in for Zach Crawley. Much more orthodox field. Quite a big no ball there from Mitch Marsh. The ball really has to swing and take the edge for those two fielders to come into play. Crawley seeing it like a football at the moment.
Ooh, that just nipped a bit. There's been much less movement, we'd say, today than yesterday. It's been a better pitch to bat on. Oddball has just done a little.
It's also been the nature of the battle, the style in which England have played. Most of the bowling looked ineffective apart from a few overs with the new ball. Marsh now holding a much straighter line, looking for an LBW or a bowled. Another no ball though. They need something, Australia. Root is vulnerable to the LBW. But right now everything seems to be meeting in the middle of the bat.
228 for 2. Well, Australia just slowing things down now as we run up to tea. The tea will come at a good time for them because they've just been put to the sword this afternoon. England's run rate in the afternoon session has been incredible. They were 61 for 1 at lunch. So 167 runs have come. So Cummins and McDonald, the coach, between them at tea time will have to come up with a strategy, try and get back into this game, because if England continue at a rate, then they're going to be well in advance of Australia by this evening.
It's hard to see what that strategy is going to be without a bigger burden falling back again on Cummins, Stark and Hazelwood.
Given width, Crawley has smeared that wide of mid-on for 6. He moves to 129. It's been an exhibition from Zak Crawley this afternoon and from Joe Root, who congratulate each other now on a 100 partnership, a rapid one. It's come in 82 balls.
It's been an object lesson from these two on how to not just construct a partnership but construct it at pace, how to treat a part-time off-spinner, how to put pressure on a fielding side in a high-pressure game. The line was wide enough for him to free his arms. Good, strong stride down the track. He's got enough power and strength to muscle it over the fence.
That brings Crawley more than 100 runs in the session as well. He was 26 at the lunch break. He's 129 now.
Eddie. Come on, lads. Go again here, Travis. Come on, Trav. Nice, Eddie.
Well, that's 4 on the boundary, or almost on the boundary on the leg side. The deep square legs, forward square leg, mid wicket, and a reverse sweep that turns into a conventional sweep.
Well, they're slowing things up pretty effectively here. I imagine this now will be the last ball before the break.
Yeah, the slowing of the game, the chat, the field setting, all shows that Australia in a corner.
An amazing session of cricket that from England. 178 runs came in the session from just 25 overs, and Australia had no answer at all. Firstly to Crawley and Moeen Ali, and then to Crawley and Root. This partnership is an unbeaten 109 in just 86 balls. Crawley playing quite brilliantly today for his 4th Test match 100. More than 100 runs in the session for him. Root goes to tea in sight of his half-century, and there's a lot of hard thinking to do in that Australia dressing room at tea. Run rate of more than 7 and over throughout the session gets an approving nod from Ben Stokes, and it's that man there, Zak Crawley, who's led the way. Wonderful feeling that, walking to tea unbeaten on 132 with another session stretching ahead of you. You could have a big score by this evening, and in the past he has obviously shown his ability to get big scores. He's already made a Test match double 100. So this day has swung very much in England's favour. Crawley unbeaten on 132. Moeen Ali played well for his 54. Joe Root looking ominous, 44 from 35 balls. So England trailing just by 78 and some pain there. Look at those economy rates first of all. Just the 2 wickets for Stark, none for anybody else, and nobody going at less than, well, around about 4.5 runs and over. So Australia bowled out this morning for 317, with Chris Woakes completing his first 5-wicket haul against Australia. In reply, England 239 for 2, trailing by 78.
We've had nothing but action here at Old Trafford. Zak Crawley has romped to his 4th Test match century. A breathless partnership of 109 from just 86 deliveries with Joe Root, who's 44 from 35. Australia looked all at sea. Captain Pat Cummins has had to run in and bowl. He's going at 6.5 runs and over himself. In the session, England, well, it's extraordinary. 7.12 runs per over. Just the 25 overs bowled in that session. 1 wicket for 178 runs. If England keep going at that sort of pace, well, you'd imagine they'd have a lead of somewhere around 100 come the close of play this evening. It has been quite extraordinary. If England could have put together a wish list for how they'd want today to go, then they've had it delivered to them, with perhaps a little bit of extra tax on the side as well. Australia's plans and their execution were found very much wanting. In that afternoon session, have they been able to get their heads together and turn it around and stick to a plan, stick to a course of action to try and stem the tide? And if they've come here thinking about the draw, thinking about the weather at the weekend, then England are giving them something else to think about. 239 for 2, trailing by 78. And very, very good afternoon stroke evening to Dinesh Karthik. What have you made of it? Oh, 2 noises, 2 noises. Joe Root waiting to review because the umpires have not given a decision yet. Umpires Menon and Wilson are getting together, and it's an umpire review.
Are you giving it out though?
Yeah, umpire review for a catch. It's a fair delivery. You can go to the front on spin vision, please. Can you go to the Alfred, please? Can you go to the Alfred? Can you rock and roll, please? Can you rock and roll, please? No, move forward, move forward. Okay, now you get nice and slow. Okay, move. Okay, move on. I can see clear daylight between the bat and the ball. Okay. Giant screen is big screen. I made my decision.
not out. I think that's a cute bit of umpiring from Nitin Menon. Didn't give a decision in the first place. Didn't say whether or not he thought it was out or not out. Went to go and check to see if the catch was clean. It looked clean to me from up here, knowing that that would then reveal whether the edge was taken. In the end, we've got to the right decision. Neither team has lost a review, so I suppose no harm done, which is more than can be said for some of the folks up on that temporary stand. Ball hitting both pads. Now we'll get the opinion of Dinesh Karthik. How are you?
Good evening, Butch. Feels good to speak. A very bizarre start, must say. Was waiting for my turn, never came around. That's how this day has been so far. That second session between lunch and tea. Well, stuff made of dreams for a batter.
Again, Cummins just unable to hold a line on and around off stump. Root able to turn over the strike again. So just resembled almost like a school team before the tea break. Australia following the ball around, not being able to stick to one plan or another, not being able to bowl two deliveries in the same spot. And England just gave them the run around. Brilliant from Crawley.
Plenty of support from the crowd here.
You're too young to remember this, but I can remember watching the Ashes series in 1981 that was turned on its head by Botham and Willis at Headingley. And the next Test match, Australia really should have won that one, and Ian Botham took 5 for 1 to win England the game again, and had the similar sort of feel with the crowd playing a huge part. The crowd almost getting under the skin on the backs of the opposition and willing everything to go against them. 240 for 2.
That temporary stand there, quite a sight. I wouldn't want to be sitting right up there.
Batter under pressure.
Weight of humans is around about 70 kilograms. 8,500 people in there. There's about 600 tons worth of weight on that stand.
Quite a construction, this. Permanent temporary stand, as Benedict would call it. Very interesting. If you're right up top there, well, it's not a place that I would want to be.
No, it's another reason you don't mess with scaffolders, even if they're blocking your route somewhere. Those fellas have got some physical attributes to put something like that together. So Australia have come out after the break and gone a little bit more what you'd call orthodox in terms of the field. The man at point is back, as he's been pretty much since ball 1, when England were 0 for 0. But now you've got sort of a 1.5 slip and a 4th slip, extra cover mid-off. 2 men back on the hook, mid-wicket, mid-on. But again, and this is the surprising thing, I think, particularly when you think about bowlers like Hazlewood and Cummins, who have made a living out of being brilliant line bowlers on hard, true Australian tracks, being able to hold a line, 5th stump. And they've just not been able to do it. Look at the economy rates there. And okay, at times they've gone to the short ball plan, and that hasn't worked. But those numbers are startling from bowlers who are used to bowling on tracks like this.
The one problem that Australia have is, out of the 42 overs that have been bowled up till now, 28 have been bowled by the regular 3 bowlers, Stark, Cummins and Hazlewood. Now without the front line spinner, now this is where Nathan Lyon comes into the picture. When he is around, he does the holding job in the first innings, in pitches which don't have so much spin So with him not being there, it's going to be really tough on these three bowlers to keep coming back spell after spell and throw in a bit of short ball barrage as well.
That's the line we're talking about, just there. But yeah, absolutely agreed. I mean, it was a big talking point before the Test match. I was very much of the opinion that Marsh plays ahead of Green, given what he did at Headingley, and that they should play the spinner. And Australia, perhaps looking at that weather forecast and thinking of a shortened game, decided that they would play both the big all-rounders, strengthen the batting. As it is, Marsh has only bowled 3 overs, going at 6s. And they've had to throw the ball to head. I mean, that's the point, isn't it? The point is they've had to throw the ball to the spin bowler, who's only a part-time spin bowler, and England have tucked into him at 8 and over.
And that's where the problem starts for them. And it's going to be hard on this pitch. One good thing for them is Mitchell Marsh got Zach Crawley out in both the innings in Leeds when he played. Are they going to use that as a matchup? They tried, didn't work the first spell.
Again, 2 straight. Perhaps a little bit of bat on that onto the pad, or no, leg by. 43 overs done, 2-4-2 for 2. I mean, that's another issue. If you play 5 seam bowlers, one of those guys is going to be sort of like almost a last resort, so he doesn't bowl very much anyway. Now, had Marsh been the 4th seamer as he was at Headingley, he would have bowled, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. They've got a few questions. That's always the case in Test cricket. You've got to play the odds. When you sit back right now and look at how Australia have gone about things, have they looked a little bit too much into the weather that's going to come around in the weekend? But by then is the Test match already taken its course. It's a good time though. The sun is out. Makes for some good viewing in Old Trafford.
Speared in towards the pads of Crawley again. It's another boundary. .71 behind now.
They've done a few things wrong, and one of that is for sure bowling straighter to Crawley. This one just coming a touch into his pads. He's flicked it nonchalantly. Yet again to another boundary, takes him to 136. And interestingly, strike rate is still 100. That's what makes it so special.
England still 70 runs behind, but by now, even as you try and stay in the moment, as they will in the dressing room, thoughts must be turning to, okay, well, how do we play the game from here? Forecast for tomorrow has perhaps got a little bit better. I mean, my feeling is, for what it's worth, that try and score your runs as quickly and as many as you possibly can in the first innings, and hope that you don't need a second one.
True. All right, Butch, put on your captaincy hat now. You have to. I know not many Englishmen want to stand in an Australian shoe, but if you were the Australian skipper right now on that field, what would you be thinking? Are you going to be stemming the flow of runs, or are you going to be looking for wickets?
Well, I think they tried that and it's not worked out for them. I think now they've got to figure out the best way of trying to remove these two and get a couple of new batters in. Now, for me, Cummins has just done exactly what he needs to do. Ball after ball after ball to Zach Crawley. Length, 6th, 7th stump, and just stay there. It doesn't matter if he skews a couple over the top of the slips. Don't change the plan. Stick to it. Stemming the flow of runs has been what they've been trying, and it's not been particularly successful so far. So it's hunt wickets. because guaranteed they're going to be under a tidal wave of pressure come their second innings, the third innings of the Test match. England have become very, very good at getting 10 wickets in the third innings of Tests under Ben Stokes.
And even better at scoring in the fourth innings in the recent past.
Indeed. Zach asking for perhaps a bigger bat, something that hit it further and harder. Oh, nice touch from Cummins, saves a potential boundary from the blade of Root. 249 for 2.
Nice touch that, Butch. That's being tall though.
It's like the Dennis Bergkamp manoeuvre. Flipped it around the defender and then finished it in the far corner. It's Newcastle back in the day, if I remember rightly.
Not too far from here, right?
Far enough.
The one reason why Australia haven't planned as well to Zach Crawley is how straight they've bowled and how it's helped Crawley get all those boundaries, especially on the leg side. Hardly hit down the ground, a lot more down the leg. Those two big sixes were the Travis hit, but the fast bowlers have tended to bowl a lot more straighter. And he's got plenty of boundaries this game, 15 fours and 2 sixes so far.
Yeah, set the field straight. The ball up there and the ball ending up on off stump as opposed to starting on off stump and hitting leg or going down. My feeling is that Zach Crawley has played perhaps his best cricket over the course of this series as an opening batter. He's looked the part